Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we are going to do a bit of a talk through on Act 6, Chapter 1, Map 3 with the Ghost as the boss. So this is called Father's Concern. This is the path I chose. There is no local nodes on these fights. A pretty easy line to take, relatively old champions, and most of them easy to deal with Blade. Now the global node for this map is stacks of weakness when you're close to the defender. So the longer you're next to the defender, the more stacks you'll get, and you get rid of them by creating some space for a short period of time. So this can be frustrating with some very offensive and close up champions, but if you have a champion like Blade who creates distance naturally, or Stark Spider-Man who creates distance naturally, you don't have to worry about it as much. But once you get a few stacks on you, you do want to create some space so that you can continue to deal a good amount of damage. Now this last fight before you can go to Ghost is against Thing, and this was a new champion to me, so I had to learn a bit about how to fight him. Ideally, you can use a bleed champion because any stack of bleed that would apply actually removes 3 of his rock stacks. Now, if he gets to 15, then he becomes unstoppable, and so you want to prevent that from happening as much as possible, or you have to play very cautiously when you get him over that limit. So the way I tried to handle this was bringing Black Panther. He's like my only other consistent bleed champion that is a 5-star. It didn't actually work out very well for me. So you can see when you attack him with 15 stacks, he becomes unstoppable, and you just have to kind of play defensively until you can, wait it out. But it doesn't remove all the rock charges, so then you're stuck again hitting into somebody with almost 15 stacks, and so I didn't find Black Panther to be very useful for me. I did, however, find Blade to be extremely useful because his special attacks apply multiple bleeds each, and every time you parry, it applies a bleed as well. So you can fairly easily get rid of these stacks over time, and if you get pretty close, you can just parry a couple times in a row to deal with it. And so I actually didn't have too much difficulty taking down Thing with Blade. As you probably know by now, if you've been watching my videos, I rely heavily on Blade and Stark Spider-Man and the synergy that they have along with Ghost Rider. And I have the new champion Doom, which is pretty cool to have, and so I finally got him up to rank 4, which means I will be using him more often, and hopefully I can utilize him in some helpful ways. He did help me in the fight against Ultron in the second map of Act 6, Chapter 1. And I'm looking forward to using him a lot more once I get the hang of him. But for now, Blade is really carrying me through these fights. Now going into this boss fight, Ghost, this is also a new champion to me, so I had to familiarize myself with the special attacks, and I actually went in first with Ghost Rider, and the main local node here to pay attention to is Limber, so you can't parry him too many times before it becomes a little bit less effective. So I went in with Ghost just to try to get the hang of it, see what the special attacks looked like, but I was very pleasantly surprised to find that the special attacks are very easy to avoid. There are no projectiles or long range components of the attack, so you just have to create some distance and know when the attack is going to end. So you can see some of that in this video if you already are not familiar with Ghost, but I actually was able to almost kill Ghost with Ghost Rider in one shot, and then at the very end I made a bit of a mistake, so I finished it off with Blade and didn't have to use any resources to complete this map, which was very exciting. This map and the Loki map, I was able to save on some resources, so that is something that you can hopefully count on doing as well, since the global nodes and the local buffs on the champions that are the bosses are not too difficult to manage, so it can pretty reliably be completed in a single run without any item usage. So now you've seen enough to probably see what the special attacks look like, and you've seen that when Ghost dashes back, it comes in a phased state, so you want to be careful attacking at that time. But for the most part, a very simple champion to attack, basic mechanics, and easy special attacks to avoid, and so did not have too much issue. But of course, Ghost Rider, especially without the dupe, does not allow for insanely high damage output, so it did take quite some time to complete this fight. So I'm speeding it up to save on some time there, and you'll see at the very end I finish off with Blade just to take the last little bit of health away. So I hope this was helpful. I'll let the video play out with some music in the background, and good luck when you come across this map and again in the future when you go for exploration. I obviously have not done the rest of the lines yet, but I will take a look at those in the future and potentially make a video on each of the lines and how to deal with each of those other nodes. So once again, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.